Welcome to Spill the Booch. This is the show where we share wild, hilarious, and oh so relatable stories from the yoga and wellness world. But let's be real, it isn't always as zen as it seems. And I'm Mara, and I'm here with my wonderful team of yoga business coaches, Terry and Carol, and our wonderful Maria. And together we're diving into stories that make you laugh, cringe, and say, yep, that's so yoga. So grab your coffee, kombucha, or your favorite drink, and let's jump in. So before we dive in, what actually makes a yoga studio great? And what sends students running for the door? We're diving into a Reddit story thread where yoga students spill their biggest deal breakers and must-haves. Reddit has some strong opinions from questionable smells to kombucha cult vibes. So my question for you before we dive in is, when you walk into a yoga studio, what's one thing that'll send you running for the hills?
If it like gives off like overly spiritual vibes. If
Ooh,
there's
bring it
like
to your
I don't know, like a
toes.
gong in the
The
background or
gongs.
something and like and if it smells too strongly of incense or something. I can't remember the studio that I went to or where it was, but it definitely felt like a cult from the moment that I walked in. I was trying to find somewhere to teach. Walked into this place, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about this. But I took a class anyways. I went and talked to the owner and she was like, I'm not sure that you'd be a fit to teach here. Like, we try really hard to create and cultivate a super spiritual
Oh,
environment. And I was just like, yeah, no.
How did she know that wasn't you, Maria?
I
How did
know, I know. I
know?
felt
That was
really,
pretty like
yeah,
judgmental. It's like, was it obviously she was making that based on appearances only if she didn't know you.
yeah. She had no idea who I was. I just took it
Yeah.
was my first class taking.
And your
oh,
last,
Oh yeah, I never
and your
went back.
last, yeah. What about you, Terry?
you know me, I can rant on this forever. I will say, actually, here's something to think about studio owners out there watching this or listening is I've been turned off just by flipping websites, not even wanting to go in. And my biggest, I'll just throw it out here right now, my biggest one is okay, here's our great deal, our great intro offer for new students. Oh, by the way, it's for local students only, and you have to provide an ID for it. So it's like sign up for a drop-in. Then when you come in, bring your ID, then we'll give you the intro. And there's another studio that does the same thing. And I asked them and they said, oh, we don't really check IDs. We don't really, that's just, I said, well, then why do you have it on your website? So one of my big pet peeves is the website even conducive to get me in there? And then I think the other one is whether how they greet me. That's a big one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree with
And
that too.
and as I've said, I've been underwhelmed. Nobody never said, "Oh, we have the shittiest teachers and the shittiest community," right? I guarantee you those
yeah.
studios that I went into, I wasn't greeted by name. I wasn't like given squad. All say,
Yeah.
"Oh, we have the best teachers in the best community." So that would
Well,
be my thing is
yes, you
you're not
gotta
even,
be part of the community to be the best community, not
yeah.
new people.
Was just thinking how there's not much that turns me off from like smells. Yeah, okay. I've been in Bikram studios before, no problem. People wearing teeny tiny clothes or next to nothing doesn't bother me either. But what pisses me off is if the class that I'm going to is not congruent with what I expected.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
So if I'm
that's a
expecting like
good
a hot
one.
power flow and I go in and they're like, oh, we're not gonna turn on the heat today, we're just gonna chillax. Like I would that turns me off.
Yeah.
Oh
Like
my gosh.
but I'm
Yeah.
going to that's the thing that's gonna, turn me
That's a really good
It
one.
is. And or they say
Yeah.
the class is this and they think what they're teaching is this, and it's
Hmm.
not.
yeah.
There's that's a real big one where it's like it
Mhm.
says heat in there, oh, we're not going to use the heat. But also I've been to studios where they describe it as a power flow class, whether heated or not heated, and you go in and it's like that's not a power class.
Yeah, I mean, like that, I feel like is just, it's not on purpose necessarily. Like they could genuinely think, like the thing with vinyasa is it like can be perceived in so many different ways. What Carol's saying, if they decide, oh, I don't really feel like doing that, that's a huge piss off.
Yeah.
Like I go to spin quite frequently, and a lot of the times the instructors are like, do you guys want to do the weight set this time? And I'm like, you take out the weights, I'm gonna punch you and throw my weights at you. Like, and
Well,
everybody, of course, is like, yeah. And then they're like, okay, I guess we'll do them. And it's like, oh, lady, it's one song. nobody cares but you.
What's
But
that?
let's dive into the story that we've all been waiting
Okay.
for. So the title of this story is Qualities You Look For in a Yoga Studio, question mark. And this is fresh. It's only posted 18 days ago. So this is
Ooh.
new and it's already generated so much engagement. So what are some green flags that you look for in a studio and why? And what are some red flags you look out for? And what are the reasons that made you choose your home studio? I would love to hear all your studio stories and experiences and any advice you have for someone looking for a studio to call home. So the story itself isn't really that intriguing. It's more so the comments because like I said, this is fresh and it's gotten so much engagement. And so the top comment, and coming from the hot yoga world, this is definitely gonna upset a few people. So the top comment has 197 upvotes again in just 18 days. Green flags, studios that don't include classes like yoga sculpt, beachbody yoga, etc. focus on traditional yoga and not just physical. Studios that have diverse selection of teachers, studios that have option of non-heated classes,
Oh, wait, these are,
studios that have instructors who are comfortable including pranayama, mantra, and mudra and yogic philosophy in their classes, studios that go out of their way to promote and advertise inclusivity, and studios that offer props and mats free of charge to borrow if you forget yours or you're just a newbie trying it out. And last but not least, studios that offer interesting workshops like Reiki, gong baths, chanting, nidra, etc.
these are the things they're looking for in a studio.
Yeah, these are things that are like, oh, this would be really great. These are all green flags that they would like to see in their yoga studio. And my initial thought on this person wants somebody to just not make any money in their yoga studio at all. They want free mats, they want a diverse selection of teachers, but no sculpt classes that won't bring in extra people to have diverse teachers. And all of these workshops that very select few people usually end up attending.
So what, I mean, that's a lot of that is like, okay, whether you like heat, don't like heat, to your point, Marie, about the spiritual aspect of it and all that kind of stuff. It's like, let's, just call it diverse. It's like, okay, your studio, your teachers can only be as diverse as people who apply. So what if in your community it's hard to find teachers, diverse teachers, if they're not there. So does that automatically preclude someone from making that decision because, oh, there's no teacher, there's no diversity in their teaching? Now, I'm all for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I'm going to say that DEI as diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if you're not in an area or neighborhood that necessarily has that, it's a little bit harder to do. I'm not saying you shouldn't try, and one should always try. It's just that if that's what you're just making a decision based on, is like looking at, is that a reality, and what are they doing if they don't have it now? What are perhaps the owner doing to try to improve it? Finding good quality yoga teachers is a problem,
It's
regardless
hard.
of race, ethnicity, any of that stuff. It's just finding good teachers can be challenging.
Yeah, it is. All right, so if there's a lot of comments off of this specific comment, and they're all hot yoga focused, which I just find so funny because we all love hot yoga, but I wish that all hot studios near me had non-heated options. This has been such a pain point for me. And when I tell them I would like more non-hot options, they just reply with, but everybody likes hot yoga. I'm honestly learning, even in the 1 room temperature classes a week they offer, it's never the yoga style for me. I will just go to the studio that offers further hippie studios. Another comment, hot yoga literally makes me sick. Glad you're accessible to hippies. Another comment, same here. And studios lie about their temperatures. They claim the room is heated to 82 degrees, but the room is packed, so it ends up being over 95 degrees and super humid. Well, first of all, it's 105.
Well, that's
And
good.
second of all, yeah, body heat makes it hotter. We're not good for this one.
Well, that's why I would just call it hot. I wouldn't put a temperature range.
Yeah, just hot.
Just hot.
Hot,
And
hot, hot.
hot, 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 so hot, damn
Hot
hot.
and
We
bothered.
Wait.
If I opened a yoga studio, I would name a class specifically hot and bothered. Yeah.
This is
And
what
then
I
they
used
couldn't
to
complain
say.
because they're going to be bothered and they're going to be hot.
This is what I used to say to people when they would ask me how, and I was Bikram. I would say hot, so hot, dying hot. We are going to fry eggs on your stomach hot. And that's what people would do, and they would laugh because the whole thing about heat is people are like stressed or nervous about the heat. And then I would just say, just try the best you can. Response to that heated thing is like, if you're a hot studio, lean into being hot.
Don't try to be something you're not.
People don't realize how hard it is to like modulate temperature in these studios. Like if you have one room and they're like, oh, it'd be so great if you offered non-heated classes. It's like, okay, well, like, do you know what that entails? Like how hard it
Yeah.
is to regulate the temperature and to get the room back up to heat and like, yeah, like
It's
people just
gonna have
don't
to
get
be
it.
like one at 6 a.m. that's non-heated, and then the heated class. Like you can't just switch back and forth. That's why education, maybe this is just my personal opinion because I'm in marketing, but like educate your community on that kind of stuff. Like make it funny,
Yeah.
obviously. Don't like just, by the way, we cannot have hot classes and non-hot classes in the same day because it's hard to change the temperature. You can't do that. You need to make it funny. I mean, if you did talked in a British accent, it'd be pretty. But
Or just like you said, we are a hot studio. That's what we're known for.
yeah, own it and like
Own it.
be
You want
aware of it. And
unheated class-
you know
you want
what though
unheated
is like,
classes? We're not the place for you.
yeah, so this comment here is really good. A variety of classes, variety of teachers, clearly stated fees, cleanliness, non-cultiness, proximity to home or work so I can actually go, and do a trial week or month at each studio. That's an option. Some places will instantly rub you the wrong way. Some will you'll never mesh with, and others you'll be excited to attend. That's so true. And that's what the intros
Yeah.
are for. And in that time, things that can really help students feel at ease or at home or comfortable in a studio is very, very simple. One, stand up and greet them when they walk in the door, especially if you've never seen them before. And two, like giving them a quick tour so that they know what's what, get a feel for like what they're actually looking for. Like, what do they want to get out of their yoga practice? And then you can help them make that decision a lot easier. And at the end of the day, some studios just aren't for everybody. As much as we want to be the yoga studio that's for everybody, it's never going to happen.
Classic, you can't be all things to all people. So who's your primary avatar? Who's the people that are coming to your studio? Lean into that. And, yeah, it's like just lean into the fact if you're a hot studio, we're a hot studio. If you don't like the heat, this might not be the place for you. And I think, if you're doing heated and non-heated, the best way if you're going to do that is to have two rooms.
Yeah,
So that
for
you have a
sure.
Yeah,
hot
because then the
studio.
whole regulation that Maria was mentioning isn't an
Yeah.
issue. You know, it would be a really funny April Fool's Day class, ice cube yoga, where you do yoga and then the teacher just like massages your shoulders and bodies with ice cubes, and then you can do or not massages, but like just puts ice cubes on you, or you like have a little patch of ice cubes on your mat, or everybody freezes their mats before you do a hot class
ooh.
first to get it all nice and sweaty, and then you pop them all in. No, it wouldn't be that cold out in Canada at that point, but you'd have to put them all in a deep freeze them all up, and then take.
I don't even like the cool towels that they give you in hot studios after classes.
Oh, I love. Okay, no, cold towels after. Actually, yeah, we get cold lemongrass towels after spin, and then warm lavender pillows. Oh my God, it's seriously like the best thing in the
I'm talking about a hot class. It's like you got that burn going. You guys know that when you're just like you feel that feeling after a really intense hot class, and they put it
Yeah.
out on you. It's like, oh, to me that's just like
But
horrible.
okay, Terry, the ones that are like infused with lemongrass? Yes, it's so nice to like just.
Nope. It breaks the spell of that heat, that intense feeling.
Agree to disagree, Terry.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
All right, another comment. Green flag. The studio offers classes at times that are convenient for me. Red flag. The studio offers classes at times that are convenient for them.
Oh my God.
That was 141 upvotes.
Are you serious?
Yes. Reddit, what are you doing?
Good Lord.
Oh
And
my
for
goodness.
me, is at 1:45 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. Are you
Yeah.
Yeah. What is wrong with you, yoga studio? Green flags, friendly and welcoming to male yogis, varied teachers, clean, warm, strict on noise, late etiquette, not all asana focused. Red flags, cult-like feel. Students worshiping a teacher or teachers, constantly trying to upsell retreats and workshops, taking advantage of people with upsells and then silly pricing.
Mm.
More than two yoga Instagrammers, the kind that are always taking selfies. One is amusing, two always encourages more. Okay, so one is amusing and two always encourage. I don't get that. But so again, what is with all yoga students just don't want their studios to be open because they don't want them to make any money.
Think about the upsells. And Maria, because you guys are still actively teaching. I'm not actively.
That's true. Yeah.
How do you feel like that from the perspective of teachers?
I think it's all about how you come at it, honestly. I don't want to say a right and a wrong way to do it, but there kind of is. I feel like a lot of the time, and you know, this isn't gonna be like groundbreaking to anyone here, I don't think, but like yoga teachers don't know how to sell, right? So, I think a lot of the time it comes down to the delivery.
I feel like there's a lot of teachers that do a really good job of creating an experience. I'm just speaking about retreats specifically, and like they'll talk about a very positive and engaging experience that they had or they know of or whatever, and they create the idea of that experience and they can talk about that in their class, and then that kind of like cultivates a really positive idea of going to the retreat or things like that. So like there are
Totally.
really strategic ways to do that, but not everybody is able to do that.
Like the comment about the cult, like beyond like to a teacher or something like that, because that is really interesting that students of yoga,
Hey, Josh.
hey Josh, students of yoga are saying that, and because we talk a lot in coaching is that not building a studio around a personality, but around the brand of the studio itself. And so that is sort of, I feel, reflective. That comment is reflective of that. It's like, it's my class, my following, my client, da da da. And that it sounds like for this person is a negative, which I think is really interesting that they're calling that out.
Josh, we're just talking about a specific comment that one of their red flags was that the teachers are constantly trying to upsell retreats and workshops and taking advantage of people with the upsells and silly pricing.
A student was making the comment?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the story is about red flags and green flags for finding a yoga studio to call home.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cult talk.
There's a lot of cult talk.
Is a hard
Yoga's
red
a little
flag for a lot
culty.
of
It's a little
people.
culty, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of comments about heat and hot yoga.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of comments about hot yoga. Here's another comment. Class variety, no mirrors. This is what they prefer. Class variety, no mirrors, wood floor versus rubber mat or gym floor. Calm environment, plenty of props. Bonus points if the studio offers a karma or donation-based class.
I
Again,
think that's valid. I think all of those requests are valid. For every flavor of yoga, there's a flavor of student.
Yeah.
As well, you know,
good
like
way to put it.
you aren't ever as a studio going to make everyone happy, and you shouldn't even try.
Yeah.
To me, this just demonstrates the idea that like differentiation is one of the hardest things to do in the yoga wellness business. It'd be the same. It's the same thing. Like imagine you're a massage therapist. If I say I'm a massage therapist and Maria says she's a massage therapist and Carol says I'm a massage therapist and Terry says I'm also a massage therapist, who's good? I got to take a massage from everyone before I know who I even like. There's no differentiation. But as soon as one of us is like, I specialize in sports massage therapy for professional male athletes over the age of 30. Now I'm like, oh, that's who I'm going to go to. You just made Carol obsolete. But with that, to the point of this yoga comment, then the vibe of the place You know what's a better example? Or hair shops.
Now you need to elaborate.
There was one called in the town you're in Red Deer, because there's Chatter's Hair Salon, Tommy Guns,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is
yeah, they're a
like
chain.
Yeah,
they're a
it's a chain, the
chain.
barber.
Chatter's is like they're going after the woman crowd.
Yeah.
Tommy Guns is they're going after like the man crowd, and then there was a sports one as well. And the point is, at Tommy Guns you go in and it's like it's a very specific barber that's there, and the services they offer and the whole vibe of what it looks like is a certain thing, you know.
Yeah.
You go into the sports one and it was like all the seats were the bench seatings from a stadium, and it has huge TVs and they're always playing sports. And like that's the whole vibe of the thing. If you're going in to get a blowout, that's not the place that you go. One, they don't offer it, but then two, it's not what you're looking for. That's not the product. It's not the brand. It's not the vibe. But even if they offered, if you're like, I'm just getting a trim, maybe that's just not the vibe for you. So that's cool, but it is for someone else. That's differentiation. Yoga studios are the same thing. This person wants the super chill, low lit, say they're looking for a certain yoga voice,
Mm-hmm.
you know, speech pattern, like all of that now comes into it. Cool. On the business side, who are you? Like, make the decision.
Well, like before you jumped on, Josh, because a lot of the comments about heat, I wish they had more heated, non-heated class, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you're a hot studio, lean into the fact that you're hot. And it's like, this might not be the place for you. If you don't like hot yoga, we're not the place for you. Rather than try, as you said, you can't be all things to all people. And if you try, that's when you fail.
Well, the proof of that, Terry, to that point, the proof of that too is a lot of hot studios out there at some point are like, maybe we should do a non-heated class. They say that because that seed gets planted by clients. And every non-hot studio out there goes, maybe we should consider adding panels for hot yoga, because like the hot yoga place, the grass is always greener on the other side, because you're always going to have a client who's like, I only like cork floors. No, I only like wood floors. I like the rubber floor. No, that floor is too slippy. This floor is too cold. Like, I'm one of those people here in Sayulita doing classes. My biggest complaint about any of the studios is they have fucking cold, rock hard tile floors and shit yoga mats. It drives me insane. It's totally uncomfortable. And it's not even flat. The floor is like this.
Oh
So
my
it's like,
goodness.
there's nothing good about the flooring in any studio here.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I want to say one more comment or read one more comment and get your guys' opinion on it because it's very interesting. So this is off of that person's green flag comment. And one of his things that he liked is studios with no mirrors. So there's been a big conversation about why no mirrors. And then this person says, I'm skeptical of any studio with mirrors for the same reason. Alignment isn't something you can visually see in yourself, and it makes an instructor's job harder to have a class full of people trying to imitate what they think a pose should look like, opposed to focusing on the physical foundation.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? If you're the studio owner and a student came to you, like, how would you deal with that situation? Like, what would you say?
Don't look in the mirror.
Close your eyes.
We'll
Close your
blindfold
close
you.
your eyes.
We'll blindfold you with a cold lemongrass
We offer
towel.
blindfold.
No, just position yourself so you can't see yourself in the mirror. That's easy.
Rent them a blindfold for $4.
Make them pay for it. Blindfolds are $3, please.
A new revenue stream.
That's gonna piss off a lot of people.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I would probably talk about how we use the mirror as a tool, you know, and if it's not for you, I think it's right. You can find a spot in the room that would make it difficult to see yourself. That's really, you know, like that's your hard no for a studio. But again, to each his own. You can go find another place that doesn't have mirrors, and I'm fine with that.
Well,
if that's going to be a thing, like, bye.
it is a little bit contradictory, the fact that they said that you can't see your alignment in the mirror. I would say bullshit. What do you mean? You can see if one shoulder's lower than the other. You can see if your head is level. You could, you know, it's like, yeah, you can use the mirror to check alignment as well as how it feels in your body. So that the person just has trouble. And this is true. I mean, going back is look into your eyes. A lot of people, there are some people who actually cannot
do it.
look themselves in the eyes. They'll look any place but.
It's a weirdly empowering thing from the bigger ethos of a yoga class to say, look in the mirror, to like look at yourself.
Yeah.
People don't do it. Not everyone.
And
some people
like,
want to look at
correct-
themselves the whole time, a whole bunch.
Yeah.
That's a different problem.
That's a different problem.
Like too self-absorbed.
Yeah.
In vinyasa classes, like I'm not a big vinyasa person, but like, is there a lot of focus on like how your alignment should be? Because like I feel like they're so focused on like the flow of the class and making
It
sure
really
that the
it
class...
depends on the class. The
Yeah.
answer is yes. The answer is
Yeah.
absolutely yes. How much depends on the class and
And the
ultimately the teacher as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
And
think.
the cueing, like spread your tree root branches, you know, skyward shooting instead of stretch your arm forward.
Yeah, it's different cueing style.
Like trees can look like this, or they can look like
Yeah.
this.
How
So what
breezy
kind
is
of
it?
tree are we looking at here?
How breezy.
Breezy is
What kind of
Yeah, I
tree
think-
are we doing?
I think to that point though too, this is where from a brand and then also a product standpoint, like knowing what you are matters.
Yeah.
If you're a style of vinyasa that it really is the primary objective of the class to just be in flow, like just the rhythmic breathing and synchronization of breath with movement, if that is the primary goal of the class, at the expense of misalignment at times, that's just what it is. Then own that that's what it
Own it,
is.
yeah.
And in which case, you're right. In that class, mirrors don't matter nearly as much. Mirrors are a new thing in yoga practice.
Well, it's mostly comes from Bikram, the Bikram practice mostly, right?
They got popularized there because it came out of dance studios. It's a newer thing in like the last 100 years where it would be a normalized thing. But for a beginning yoga practitioner, it's a really powerful tool. It's interesting though that to hear the perspective of someone who's like, they're actually skeptical of the studio because of the mirror. Like that's very fascinating that they would take it that far.
I also like what you said about know your product definitions. I was at an on-site last year, Carol, to one of your clients, and I never on my own would have gone to that studio because it's not the type of yoga I like. But it was very clear what type. It was a restorative, and that's what they lean into. And I would not, under normal circumstances, because I obviously coming from the Beacon world, I like that hard, intense, power flow, that type of class. I never would have gone there on my own. And I took class there because I was doing an on-site. And I appreciated what they did. And they really did lean into that. I knew what I was I knew what I got. And it was a great class. It really is a lovely, lovely studio. And I had a great experience in the class. But because their brand was such, I wouldn't have normally been there.
All right. Just a couple follow-up questions before we wrap up. Just to tie into the pros and cons and the red flags and the green flags of what students find in a yoga studio. As yoga business coaches, how can studios ensure their pricing structure is transparent and fair, considering the red flags in the comments and in here are saying that the pricing is sketchy or unreliable, or what are your guys' thoughts?
Simplify your pricing. You need one pricing option per primary avatar and how they practice in your studio, and nothing more. That's it. And in the more extreme case where you're high volume, you can be even simpler than that. You can have like 2 things, maybe counterintuitive at first. The bottom line is that your pricing, the studio owner perspective is often that if I have more options, if I have a smorgasbord of pricing, then I'm going to actually get more people because I'm going to appear to have served more opportunities for people to buy something. And what actually happens on the other side is that kind of commentary where it's like, I have to logically think about your pricing so hard, and then it doesn't make sense in my mind from my limited perspective, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Yeah,
Like,
paradox
I
of
want
choice.
this and this and this, and that's it. 3 options.
Yeah.
And it also
Make it
goes
simple.
back to the variety thing. Everybody's more variety. And I would say that I wouldn't necessarily go with that. I mean, variety can come, we misinterpret variety to be like
Valuable.
wildly different as opposed to having controlled variety. Because let's face it, Bikram Studios were super in the day and still are incredibly successful. And let's face it, it is a set series. And yet I think the variety comes from the different teachers teaching. So that whole thing, and it's so nebulous. What do you mean by variety? Every class, because I would argue studios that I see and coach that have too much, it's less impactful.
Yeah, and I've been doing a lot of website audits lately for some strange reason. Looking at the class types that studios are offering versus what's actually on their schedule. And it's like, first of all, say they have like 15 class types on their classes page, and then you go to the schedule and only like 5 are actually offered within that week. It's like, well, what's the point of all of those? And there's some that are like, this one's with music, this one's without mute, like a Bikram class, for example, like a 60-minute, a 75-minute, and a 90-minute. And then this one has music, and this one's like not really like an actual class. And it's like, it's just like, it's overwhelming to find.
I love it when you have power flow, vinyasa flow, slow flow, and morning flow all in the same studio. And you're like,
So gentle flow.
what's the
flow
difference
on
in
Friday.
gentle flow?
50 plus flow.
50 plus flow. Oh
Oh,
my
that
God.
always
Yeah.
pisses me off.
Yeah. Terry. Pricing. We never answered. Terry took us on a tangent. The question was about pricing, Carol.
Oh, I think that was perfect. It is keeping it really straightforward and simplified is what's going to help. I think I'm wondering if this person just saw so many options on a website, or maybe they know their buddy got a different price for some reason. Maybe there was some chatter about getting some weird discount or being on a karma program or something, and maybe it's just not up front, and that's creating that disconnect with that particular person. But yeah, simple, straightforward, minimal options, I think, is the key.
The other thing that came to mind is transparency. It doesn't have to be over communicated, but just what exactly am I fucking buying? What are the terms and conditions? Which is really this click to cancel law is putting all that in place too, which is great. But like, that's the thing, is just, what is this? What am I buying? What are the terms and conditions? How does this compare to your other pricing option? Whether that's on your website or something that's explained or whatever, access to that information, it being very simple and easy to consume. To me, that's a component of it as well. I wonder if the other thing that comes to mind here is I've been talking about ClassPass a whole bunch this last month with studios. ClassPass is so not transparent for the consumer and even less transparent for the studio. Like, if anyone is not a studio owner listens to this and they're on ClassPass, just know that most studios are happy to receive a paycheck from ClassPass, but generally don't like it. Really taking advantage. And the biggest place that it takes advantage is completely non-transparent what you're going to get paid as a studio, how they even calculate that, what your students pay for a class. Like, they are a direct competitor of the studios that they are sending people to. It's really frustrating. On all sides, that non-transparency, that's the other part that I think breeds this type of commentary, whether it's ClassPass they're referring to or not, of like, this idea of sketchy pricing. It's where your brain knows, or like, there's some trickery that's going on here, and no business builds trickery into their pricing that makes it hard for me to understand, that doesn't ultimately give them an advantage. You're never going to build a tricky pricing model that actually is advantageous to the student. That's not a thing. And everyone knows that. The less transparent and the more trickery feeling it is, the more I'm going to just completely destroy.
Like you said, that goes to that whole click to cancel thing, because I think a lot of the pricing trickery, as you mentioned, comes from memberships and recurring payments, where it's hard to cancel, it's hard to pause, it's hard, it's like they get you in it and then they keep you.
Yeah, the studio that I would go to or get a membership at, it's a minimum 6-month commitment. And you don't even get a discount or anything if you agree to that. Like, if it was like, if you agree to 6 months, like if you commit to 6 months, then you get a little bit of a discount.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, that's the only option for any kind of auto pay. I'm lazy and I hate driving half an hour to go to yoga, so I don't want to do it. All right, let's finish off this last question before we wrap up here. So I really want your guys' opinion on it. How can studios create a welcoming environment that avoids the semblance of a cult-like atmosphere?
I would love to know the backstory, what they mean by cult-like atmosphere.
Oh, Terry,
Well,
you
wait,
know,
let me
you've
say-
been
let me
in the
say this.
studios.
So
You've been
I
in the
just finished
studios.
watching Schitt's Creek, and for those of you who've seen it, there is an episode where Alexis takes all her friends to this fitness class, and they're getting elevated. And first of all, they all have to wear this white beigey jumpsuit thing in the class, and they're talking about elevating to the platform and blah blah blah, and they're like the whole class is geared towards like going to this place together. And at the end of it she's like, oh my God, you guys, I'm so sorry I made you sign up for a cult. Let's go. And like they're selling specific products after, and like that are like the books on getting elevated and like all these things. So there are hints. So if you have to all wear the same clothes, that's red flag number one. Red flag number two, buying into specific products that talk about their ways. That's culty way number two. Any other advice on how to avoid a cult-like atmosphere in your yoga
Well,
studio?
all boutique fitness modalities that feel cultish have a couple of common threads. They all come from charismatic leadership, because that's condition number one for cults, which might not be an individual, right? CrossFit would be an example where like there isn't really an identifiable individual, but there is charismatic leadership from a fake, but still controlling body of CrossFit, because you can be officially CrossFit or not officially CrossFit. And then condition number two is you have to have a specific core principle that you believe in. Like it's like the hill that you'll die on, the sword that you would die on. That has to be there. And you're indoctrinating that into people. Neither of these are even negative. I'm just saying those conditions are there. But then the third condition is you have to be so bought in on it that you talk shit on someone else.
Yeah.
That's the condition that you have to remove. To not feel culty, that condition can't be there. As soon as you say, we're the best, and this is why, and here's our principal approach and everything else, and if you don't do it this way like those guys over there, fuck them, now you're a cult. You have to wear this like this because it's the only way. And if you don't, you're lesser than. There's a hierarchy of human value based off of being in or out. Now you're in cult territory.
People are very intense, and some people can't be. Students, whether it's the students, whether it's the teachers or whatever. Like one of my girlfriends is hard into CrossFit right now. She just really, really loves it. Like, you know, like you can really, really love something, and that's okay. And some people are just really intense, and like when they're focused on doing something, they're just like full on into it. I don't know, there's just a fine line, but like as a business owner, I think more so than the student, you just need to be a little bit more mindful about it. If you like it, great. If not, great.
I don't know if you guys know, but I'm like obsessed with cults. I listen to podcasts all the time.
Girl, you are so mysterious.
I know.
And I mean, there's a whole matrix to like going through and identifying. It's like 10 points, like if this is happening. And there's even a podcast called A Little Bit Culty, and it's like so many things are a little bit culty. Businesses, like organizations, everywhere. And it's like you just turn that dial just enough, and then there it is, right? So we all have tendencies, I think, towards it. And some of the things are actually good, right? That like I'm bought into what this business is doing. That's your brand ambassador. So like there can be a positive there. But yeah, I think Josh kind of hit the nail on the head. One of the things is like, if you leave and you're dead to me and you can never like, or I'm talking shit about you because you left, you know, that's a real, that's a true, something's really bad here.
The true line crossing.
Yeah.
Just looked it up again because I was thinking about exactly that. Charismatic authoritarian leadership, elitist doctrine, isolation or control over members' lives, use of deception or manipulative tactics, strict rules and regulations, punishments or harsh consequences for dissent, high level of commitment demanded, us versus them mentality, suppression of individuality or critical thinking, exploitative or harmful practices. In the sense of like everyone drinking the Kool-Aid and dying on the beach cult sense, these get really dire. It's a serious subject. Fitness has in itself a culty component. Mara, you were sort of alluding to this. There's a difference though between it like flipping into like culty, obsession, addictive personality trait, buy-in, and hyper enthusiasm, total bought in lifestyle, personal identity. Thing can be a feature of you, who you are and how you see yourself, without you flipping into the obsessive compulsive addictive nature of it, which leads to the culty part. And then the
Yeah.
cult itself, to the question, like, how do you not make it feel culty? Quick response is like, take all the negative shit out.
Yeah.
Don't do
Us
this,
versus
don't do
them
that,
mentality. Yeah. Suppression
Yeah.
of critical thinking. Like, if you can't handle a challenge and you can't explain yourself, yoga is a great example of this. Bikram was one of the worst ever. Like, why is something like this? Because I said so. We're like, well, that's a fucking dumb answer. We can't explain it. But yoga in general is like that. Someone asks a critical thinking minded question about why something's done or how or what something means. And if you can't answer that, it's not negative. Most yogis, in my experience, can't even say that. They can't admit, they're like, I know it's something to do with this, but I'm not really sure the deeper purpose for why. I've just been taught that this is the method by this step by this. They can't even say that. That's the honest truth. They make up some bullshit.
Well, and even like just speaking of Bikram yoga, it's like, why do you guys do the same thing every single time? And instead of saying like, well, that's just how it is, that's just the class, like exactly what you just said, Josh, like just explaining it. It's like, well, actually, when you do the same thing every single class, you actually can progress in your practice and see how you've gained more flexibility or strength or whatever. Like there is a purpose to it. And then people like use that as fuel to do it more and attend more classes and get more involved and make it part of their lifestyle. They're bettering themselves and
Yeah, well, that's the trickery. I'm sure Carol, it's all her cult expertise, can talk to like that's the trickery
Carol
of
is now the cult whisperer.
the cult whisperer. She's the mysterious cult whisperer. The trickery of a cult, there's good reason and explanation behind a lot of the actions. And that's what blinds you at first. Why is something like this? Well, because insert the blank. Like they have reasoning and it might even be good reasoning.
Like nobody joins a
actually,
cult. People join a good thing. They want to
Yeah.
help humanity. They want to
Yeah.
join, but then things get twisted and
Yeah.
it starts to kind of, like you said, it kind of their choice or their natural intuition tends to be taken away by the charismatic leader. And by the way, it wasn't Kool-Aid that they drank, it was Flavor Aid, just so everyone.
Flavoring. Oh. So the
Oh my
Kool-Aid
God.
man isn't gonna smash through the wall.
Is it?
No.
Yeah, totally. That's one of my favorite episodes of Family Guy, where the Kool-Aid
Oh my God.
smashes through the wall. How do you make your studio not culty? Take out all the negative, manipulative bullshit. Don't talk shit on other people, us versus them mentality. Be able to back up what you're saying. But then the environment of the studio itself, when we're talking about like everyone wearing the same thing or whatever else, I think that what people call culty up front in the yoga world, in my experience, like the student body that would call it that, what they're talking about is how you live in Alberta, Canada, and then you go into a studio and there's a Buddha statue with a fountain behind it, and then you do some weird chanting things, and then everyone's wearing mala beads all of a sudden, but then they all leave and get in their jacked up truck with balls hanging off the back of it and go work the oil patch. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like leans over to like, am I at some weird church religious thing? Like that's where the cult commentary comes from. None of that's inherently negative on its own. I would just say that like, is your studio representative of you as a brand and your style and your product? Or is it just formed around some weird stuff without any explanation? We had a graffiti wall in the studio.
We did, and everybody loved it. It was super dope.
And played like German reggae and hip hop. Like
And
we didn't give a
country.
like we didn't give a shit about. We were the not yoga place, and then there was a yoga place, and that place was great too because that's what it was. You know.
Yeah, and something that you can do to make it clear who you are and what you offer. Obviously, on your website, be super clear and concise about what it is that you offer, but like just start making posts on social media, like reels, make them fun, don't make them serious, about like answering these questions that people may have that, I don't know, like misconceptions that people have about your business. Answer those questions as a reel and talk about who you are, why you offer it, why you do these things. Be super transparent about who you are and what you offer, and talk about the class types you offer and why you have mirrors in your studio. Like the things that people don't really think you want, like they want to know about, they want to know about. It's going to be interesting to them.
I think you could do a whole reel series called "Yes, We Are a Cult," and you just lean into them. Like it would get so much traction.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, friends. Well, I think that's a wrap on this episode of Spill the Booch. Thanks for hanging out with us, sharing some laughs, because let's face it, yoga might be zen, but life isn't always. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share your own wild stories with us, because you might just hear them on the show. Until next time, cheers.